kale were in the soup and the Asian greens were in the rolls. So if you haven't taken advantage and tasted those, you got to see what Chesapeake vegetables taste like. So you got to have one of those each. My goodness gracious, what a season we have had. Who knew last January, when Aubrey said, let's do an employee community garden, that we would pick Mother Nature, we would have Mother Nature test us. This season has been absolutely amazing. Construction delays due to a blizzard in March, a hailstorm in May, rain in June, a 100-year flood in June, unprecedented heat in July and August, but our gardeners prevailed to have a phenomenal grow season with tremendous produce in October and September. September and October. You guys rock. And because your hard work paid off, we were able to donate over 300 pounds of produce to the Brittville Food Pantry, which is just right up here. And I know we've got some friends here from the Regional Food Bank, and they also very much appreciate and depend on the kind of work that you guys have put in and the donations that you've made. We also had the pleasure of having families come out, enjoy the garden. We got to see co-workers that maybe we otherwise wouldn't have interacted with come out and work together. And I think that there was a lot of learning from what people have told me and how they interact with me. There's just been a tremendous amount of learning that took place this year. But all of that is due to a few people, one in particular, our garden queen, Kat Goodwin. Kat, come on up.
Thanks, guys. Can you hear me all right? I just want to thank you guys for coming out today, and I guess it wasn't too hard to twist your arm to come out on a beautiful day like this. We waited for this weather, didn't we? This garden is the result of the hard work, creative energy of so many people, and I'm going to acknowledge some of those people. The first group I want to acknowledge are the gardeners. For all the reasons that Teresa mentioned about being persistent in this season through the hail and snow and 500-year flood and all of the heat, but also because you all signed up for this garden sight unseen. There was no garden when we pitched this to you back in February. It didn't even exist yet, and yet people were excited and they said, okay, I'm going to do it. They signed their name on the dotted line online and came out and put their blood, sweat, and tears into the garden. So thanks to all the gardeners. And I'm going to thank a lot of people, so we'll clap at the end. Back in 2009, before this garden was just a twinkle in anyone's eye, a committee of people from across the company got together to explore the possibility to take Aubrey's idea and see if it could work here. I just want to thank that committee of people. I'm not going to name all the names. Could our garden committee people wave if you're here? We've got quite a few people, and they've worked really hard, especially in the beginning, to hammer out all the details and figure out what needed to be done. So thanks to the garden committee. They were the ones also that came out once a month and judged the gardens for us at 8 o'clock in the morning, first of the month. So we appreciate their efforts. In case you guys were wondering who the soulless, who the thankless souls, they have souls. Not that close to Halloween yet. Well, it is getting close to Halloween. Maybe that's where that came from. The thankless job of standing out on the street corners to help you guys find your way here if you hadn't been here before. Those are our green team volunteers. Can our green team wave? We've got green team people. They are the ones that are promoting all things green, which of course the garden is one of them. And they've been very supportive of our garden all year, so we really thank them, and thanks for standing out on the street for us. Now, there's a group that once the committee got together and had to figure out how to bring this garden to life, there was a group that was assigned with the task of actually putting it into action. And that group happens to be the community relations team, the community relations department. And I'm telling you that this is a very inspiring group of people to work with. And I'm going to name their names because they have done a phenomenal job in making what you see around you actually be created. Teresa Rose, who you just saw up here. And if you guys would wave when I say your names. Britton Green over here. We've got Rachel Short. She's helping with all of the media today. Joanna Russ, Katie Collins, Amanda. Oh gosh, I wrote everybody's initials, and now that I'm standing up here, I can't remember their names. No, Erin Markovi back there, who's on the Olympic rowing team, by the way. Lindsay McIntyre, who's new to our group, and she's hit the ground running big time. Amanda Hovarth, and Allison Cashman, who's over here. We have an info table, which I'll point out to you again later, but thank you to the community relations team, because without them, this wouldn't be here. I also want to acknowledge the people who made the garden actually from the ground up. There's a group of experts in the category of make it happen and make it happen really fast, and that's Total Environment. Is Ty Hartwig and are Ty and Linda around? Yay, this is Linda. These people actually were the ones that masterminded the design and the physical creation of the garden. So, and their support throughout the season has been phenomenal. So they have the emails for me to prove it, probably 100, a week or so. So we thank them. And then David Pollard from Grooms Irrigation, who did the amazing feat of bringing water to every single plot that you see here. You probably are wondering who created this beautiful arbor, and he's here tonight. Bruce, are you here? Bruce? There he is, the mastermind. Bruce Barcosi Construction did all the buildings here and did a phenomenal job, so we thank Bruce. And incidentally, Bruce is a bee enthusiast and has been for a long time. And he knew about this beehive that lived in the garden on this block, and when we found out that tree had to go due to all the construction out here, who did I go to but Bruce? And he knew what to do, and he called his friend Harry McEwen, who is an expert beekeeper himself and an expert in bee removal. The two of them got together, and they actually salvaged this hive and moved this tree trunk from the base of our garden up to the west fence. And if you haven't gotten a chance to go and see this 20-year-old hive that's in the trunk of this tree, which we've salvaged, do so before you leave. It's pretty phenomenal. We're really committed to bees here, as you probably have figured out so far. But thanks to Harry. Harry, you want to wave your hands? If anybody has any questions about bees, you can ask him. You know Casey's here, and he's a bee expert. There's another person I want to acknowledge. I don't think he's still here, but that's Dan Ladon. He's our VP of Facilities and Construction, and if it wasn't for Dan's work, we wouldn't have a garden either. So we thank him. He was also one of the most committed members of our committee, and he was there every month to judge those gardens. So if you want to get on the good side of the person who's judging every month, get on Dan's good side. We thank Dan. One of the biggest accomplishments we've had this year was our compost program. How many people here made a compost pile this season? Yay, that's pretty phenomenal. We took a literal ton of kitchen scraps from Wildcat, Fuel, Element, and turned it into finished compost this season. Now that was a challenge in coordination. So I want to thank the people that made that happen. Gary Evans, who's our facilities supervisor, his crew, there's a couple of people on his crew that actually muscled the heavy bins of kitchen waste across this bumpy mulch out to our compost area every week. Daryl Kinsey and Miguel Esparza helped with that too. John Beagle, the director of our food services, he was the one that coordinated his staff to start collecting all the kitchen scraps. And we thank him and his staff who delivered the waste every week. It was a big effort, and it will pay off next season as we start applying all that compost to our gardens. We'll see the effect of it. Another big challenge we took on was drip irrigation. How many people took on drip irrigation in the garden this year? It was an effort to save